What is up, Sauce Nation? It's your boy Hector Flores coming at you with the season recap of the 2020 Houston Astros. Yeah, man, the season's over, so time to recap the Houston Astros for 2020. So yeah, there's that. So if you guys want content on all sports but only Houston, make sure you guys subscribe to Sauce Sports. Click on that notification bell so you'll be notified when we drop videos just like this, or when we do our live streams from Monday to Friday around 6 p.m. Central Time. Or obviously when it's Texans game day, an hour before the game and immediately after for the post-game show. If you guys want a discussion with guys like Ed Honcho, Wink, Tinny, guys from a Roundtable, or other members of Sauce Sports, make sure you guys go ahead and join the Discord. You have two options. You either sign up for the Patreon, sign up for that $5 tier, or you sign up through becoming a member of the YouTube channel, sign up for that super saucy tier, and it'll put you all in the Discord so you can chat with us, ask us some questions. If you want to partake with us watching the game live, we'll have a discussion. We'll even have Wink and Tinny get mad at me because I'm like 5 plays ahead of everybody. So there is that. But yeah, man, that's all I got, so let's get going with this video. Alright, man, so the 2020 Houston Astros, man, finished with a 29-31 record, which was good enough to win second in the AL West. Had a team batting average of 240, had a team ERA of 4.31, put up 279 runs, and gave up 275 runs, and had a run differential of +4. So not the best of stats. I will say, man, the 4.31 team ERA, with the situation that the Astros were dealing with in their pitching, with inexperienced pitchers, with the fact that they were without Justin Verlander, that's pretty impressive. That's actually not a bad number with the lack of experience that this pitching staff had. So I definitely would say that even though that's the 4.31 batting team ERA isn't of the sexiest of numbers, it's not bad for what we had going on for us. In hitting, the Astros were top 5 in 3 hitting categories and were first in triples and strikeouts. That does not mean that the Astros had the fewest strikeouts. That meant that the Astros had the most strikeouts. In pitching, the Astros were top 5 in 1 pitching category, which was also they were first in, which was home runs allowed. So they gave up the most home runs in the American League. So yeah, I mean, obviously these aren't the flashiest and positive things to take from it, but I mean, with a 4.31 bat, and I think when you think about it, with the inexperience that they had at the pitching position in general, you're gonna give up home runs. So I mean, like, I wouldn't necessarily take it with full negativity. I think knowing the situation that the Astros in, I mean, that's kind of what it is, man. So there are players I want to highlight, so let's get going to that. Alright, man, so I'm going to be highlighting 5 players. I'm going to talk about a player that I like in the hitting category, a starting pitcher that I want to highlight. I'll also highlight a bullpen arm. I'll tell you my opinion on rookie of the season for the Astros and my opinion on MVP. So for the hitter that I want to point out is George Springer, man. The man had a really good season. He had a 265 batting average, a 540 slugging, and an 899 OPS, man. He had 14 home runs and 32 RBIs. I mean, George Springer, I think, was able to solidify that he's a top player in the MLB and is going to want to get paid top dollar in his free agency. So either the Astros have to pay up or another team in the MLB is going to have to. The starting pitchers that I want to highlight, and it's a guy that a lot of people didn't think that he was going to be good, but I had not saying that I had a feeling, but I knew that once this guy had control of his pitches and had better command of his pitches, he would be a very disgusting pitcher, and that is Framber Valdez. He had a 5.3 record. He had an ERA of 3.57, had a WHIP of 1.118, and had 76 strikeouts. I think Framber was able to clear his mind, and I think with some assistance from obviously Brett Strum, definitely was able to help fix whatever he needed to fix on, and kind of makes you feel good. I think some people may even think that we got our ace already here in Framber Valdez. So obviously this is who I want to highlight in the starting pitching. Now the bullpen, there's a multitude of guys that I can highlight. Obviously Blake Taylor, Enoli Paredes. But the guy I want to highlight is Andre Scrub, man. He was 1-0. I mean, bullpen pitchers are just not going to get many decisions as far as on their win-loss record, but he had a win. He had an ERA of 1.90, had a whip of 1.479. Now, that is not a great whip. It's probably just because of the fact that he did give up a lot of walks and had 24 strikeouts. Andre Scrub, man, I mean, I don't think anybody thought much of him. I mean, the fact that his last name is Scrub doesn't probably help him out too much. But you know, this guy was part of the trade that we had, giving up Tyler White to the LA Dodgers, and we got Andre Scrub in return. He has some pretty decent stats, so I don't think he was like all that. He wasn't going to be bad. I just, I thought that this guy would not be playing for the Astros right away. I think a lot of these young guys that the Astros ended up getting this year benefited from 2020, because I think if this was a regular season where we didn't have a pandemic, these guys would probably be pitching in single A and triple A and double A. Playing. They would be playing in the minors. They wouldn't be playing with the Astros right now. So I think 2020 definitely helped them out, and I think Andre Scrub definitely took full advantage of his opportunity here. The rookie, the guy that I think is rookie of the year for the Astros is Cristian Javier. He had a 5.2 record, had an ERA of 3.48, had a WHIP of .994, and had 54 strikeouts. Cristian Javier seemed to be very reliable, man. Whether it was coming out of the bullpen or just being a starter himself, I think he's done a very good job, and I think it's kind of that thing that makes you feel confident that the Astros aren't necessarily screwed after certain players leave. I think you have a feeling that the Astros have done a really good job with this farm system that, hey, we might not have to rebuild after all. So I mean, maybe just add a few experienced pieces, and this team is ready to go back out there and make another run. So, and I think Cristian Javier is definitely one of those guys that makes you believe that. And then MVP, I'm sure a lot of people are saying Carlos Correa, and I'm not gonna argue with it, but I mean, I think if you really been watching the Astros, it's Martin Maldonado. And the reason why Martin Maldonado, I'll just say his stats right now. He has a .215 batting average, had a slugging of .378, and an OPS of .727, had 6 home runs and 24 RBIs. Now, those stats aren't the reason, obviously, but it's just the fact that he had to step up and be the leader for this team, and that was as the fact that he had to help give confidence to these young pitchers, man. I think he was able to help Lance McCullers Jr. a lot. He helped Framber Valdez. Obviously, Cristian Javier, all the young guys that we had, he had a big role in helping these guys get developed, especially as they were thrown into the fire this season. And so I think if you do not think Martin Maldonado deserves to be MVP, I just don't think you were watching Astros baseball to begin with. So I think Carlos Correa actually agrees with me, because I believe he put an Instagram post where he actually said that Martin Maldonado is the MVP. So I think it's very fitting. I think Martin Maldonado has proven to be a solid leader for this team, and it wouldn't shock me if he retires that he becomes a pitching coach, or even is able to one day be a manager for an MLB team. So I think Martin Maldonado is definitely a guy that deserves a lot of credit for this season. So yeah, there's that. All right, man. So we have a total of 5 guys that are up for arbitration this off season. Now, for those of you who do not know what arbitration means, arbitration is kind of a way where a team still has control on a player, especially if they're still on their rookie contract technically they're 6, but obviously the Astros gave a contract to Yoli Gurriel already, so he's also up for arbitration, but obviously they gave him a contract, so he's already taken care of. But there's 5 players, 4 of them are in their final year. And the guys that are in their final year is Roberto Osuna, Carlos Correa, Lance McCullers Jr., Chris Davinsky are in their final year. The other player that's up for arbitration is also Lednes Diaz. So for people to understand what arbitration means, the team puts out an offer. If the player agrees with it, obviously he just accepts it and that's it. Now, if the player disagrees and thinks he's valued at this amount, and if the team doesn't agree and they can't find a middle ground, then they go to arbitration. And arbitration is basically they go to a third party and they will decide what the player is going to make. So they can either side with the team or side with the player. and that's basically arbitration. So those are the players that are up for arbitration. The Astros could avoid arbitration by just giving these guys a deal for next year, or if they can't see eye to eye, obviously go to arbitration. So those are the guys that are going to arbitration. All right, man. So here are the 4 guys that are up for free agency this year, and that is Josh Reddick, Brad Peacock, Michael Brantley, and George Springer. I'm pretty sure Michael Brantley and George Springer are the 2 guys that everybody wants to keep, but I think Michael Brantley, I think as far as the outfield goes, I definitely know that there's a lot of young guys in the outfield. Obviously, you have Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez can also play in the outfield, left field specifically. So, I mean, you might just not have a place for Michael Brantley. I mean, I would prefer to keep Michael Brantley, but I also understand that, I mean, he's just not going to be able to make this team at some point. Josh Reddick, I mean, I'm ready to let this guy go for a while now, so it was just, it's just his time, man. I mean, obviously he was a big, was a big signing for us in 2017, but I mean, it's time. And George Springer, I think, is the one that everybody's going to be put as top priority. His market value right now is $24.7 million. So it's gonna be some maneuvering for the Astros, at least to figure out how they're going to do it. I believe that they're going to be freed up a lot more money now. Now, for people to understand, there is no cap space in baseball. However, there is a competitive threshold that each team has. I believe this season, the threshold for the Astros will be, for this upcoming season, the Astros threshold is $210 million. Do I know how much money they have leeway-wise? I can't tell you off the top of my head. I would assume it's maybe around $70 million. I can't really tell you off the top of my head. That's more of a Braylon question. But I know that $210 million is the threshold. I mean, you lose Josh Reddick's contract, you lose Michael Brantley's contract, so that does open up some space. So I mean, they could try to make an offer to George Springer. The other issue, obviously, is now you have this dead amount of money because of Justin Verlander, who is going into his final year of his contract, and he is not going to play at all the 2021 season. So that kind of sucks. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know if they're able to maybe try to work out a way so they can take some money off of that contract. Highly doubt it, but maybe that's an option. And then Zach Greinke also is another big contract that the Astros are eating up right now. Do they try, maybe if they have some confidence in this young pitching rotation, and maybe if they can actually bring in, I think the Astros can be fine with their pitching rotation. Maybe add one more player, specifically an ace, because I mean, without Justin Verlander, you're kind of without one. I mean, you can maybe make an argument for Framber Valdez to be the ace. Maybe you just need a 2 pitcher, because I don't think Lance McCullers is that guy. I think Lance McCullers is a solid 3 or 4 guy in your rotation, but a number 2 or an ace, I just don't think that's what he's gonna be. Obviously, you could prove me wrong, but I mean, so I think you definitely need to get either an ace or a number 2 guy for your pitching rotation. And with the fact that your ace is out for the season again, out for next season, you're gonna have to figure something out. Maybe you're not entirely comfortable with Zach Greinke. Maybe you trade him out, trade him to get some prospects or something, get something out of it since he's going into his final year of his contract, or you just ride with Zach Greinke and just eat up his last year of his contract. It's totally up to the Astros, man. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with free agency. I think I'm really excited about it just because, obviously this is where we're gonna see James Click really do his part, and I mean, the man did some pretty good things with Tampa Bay, obviously being one of the lower payrolls in baseball. And I mean, not necessarily the Astros have they're not the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Red Sox, but I mean, it's definitely significantly more money than what the Tampa Bay Rays have. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see what he decides to do as he starts his era as the general manager of the Houston Astros. And obviously we will have one more year with Dusty Baker, as they gave him an extension during the season, so we'll see what happens there. We do have Brent Strom back. Hopefully Gary Pettis is going to be back with us as well, but there's things to be optimistic about. So 2020 has just been a wild year, and I mean, You have obviously the scandal that kind of just covered the Astros a lot. I mean, it did help that there was no fans, but obviously you had the pandemic. Then you had the issues of like how, like, you know, how many games are the teams going to play? Are the players going to get paid fully? All that stuff that would kind of led to all this, where the season didn't start till late in July. And then you obviously you had the expanded playoffs and all those things. But I think obviously at the end of it all, the Astros made it all the way to the ALCS for the 4th straight time. And not only that, Ben, but they made history as the second team to go down 0-3 to force a Game 7. So I mean, I don't think you can say that you're you know, the Astros didn't. I think they competed out, man. So I mean, you can be proud of this team for 2020, and just hope for us. You know, once you have Yordan Alvarez back, you can make it, and Roberto soon as well. That maybe 2021 could be an even better year, especially now that all these young pitchers that the Astros had in their bullpen and their starting rotation has more experience now. And can they take that experience and go into the next level and really make a strong push in 2021? So there is that. So tell me in the comment section, tell me what you guys think of the 2020 season for the Houston Astros. Make sure you guys like this video. Obviously, you clicked on this because you saw it was an Astros video, so go ahead and give it a like. And also subscribe to Soft Sports. Click on the notification bell so you'll be notified when we drop videos just like this. And of course, when we do our live streams from Monday to Friday around 6 p.m. Central Time, or on Texans game day an hour before the game and immediately after for the post-game show. So that's all I really got, man. If you guys want to have a deeper discussion, you gotta join the Discord. You got 2 options. You join the Patreon, sign up for that $5 tier, or you become a member of the YouTube channel, sign up for that super saucy tier, and it'll put you in the Discord so you can chat with us like Ed, Honcho, Wink, Tenny, or other members of the Discord as well. So there is that. We do have a Twitch channel, so if you guys want to follow us on Twitch, that'll be greatly appreciated. You'll see me drop some MLB The Show and some FIFA 21. Wink play some Madden. We'll probably get some more guys to play some other stuff on the Twitch channel. So make sure you guys go ahead and follow us on Twitch so you guys can be aware. So that's all I really got, man. Checking up a deuce. Y'all stay saucy.
Perfect.